Hey, welcome to the Sounds on Vinyl show, the only show that has a couple of dudes that hang out, talk about vinyl, and all that good stuff. My name is, as always, Phil Boyer, and from across the vast open sea is my brother from another mother, Professor Rockstar Extraordinaire, the lead singer of bands from the year 1637 and beyond. Mike Svensson. Mike, how the hell's it going?
It's going good. I mean, those intros, they're getting more epic every time, man. 1637. Oh, yeah. That's great. I mean, at least we were a country. How about you?
Well, we were a continent.
Well, we were a continent. We used to visit your continent like thousands of years before that, and we didn't even want it.
Yeah. We're like, well, we'll bail.
Yeah. Well, it's going real
right.
good. It's way cooler now. It's more in like the mellow parts that I like. It's sort of like 21, 22 degrees Celsius right now, which is sort of like I don't know. Could it be in the like 60s, 70s, something like that? I don't know. I don't care.
Sounds about right. I could use that. Yeah. We're still on fire here in the wonderful state of Idaho. In fact, as we record this, tomorrow we enter into a 4-day heat advisory where we're going to be pushing record temps. So, yeah, it's a lot of fun over here, man. It's a lot of fun.
It's all in good fun.
We're like that Kiss song, Heaven's on Fire, right?
Oh, man.
I had to pull Kiss in.
You had to.
First to do Kiss, to reference Kiss.
Yeah.
There you go.
And I have to do this, since you mentioned Heaven's on Fire, you may have to call out the Firehouse.
Oh, because it's hotter than hell.
Oh, there you go. I mean, we could do this all night, man. There's a show in itself.
I need a cold gin to cool me off.
Oh, damn. Well, you got the shoes.
Oh, gee. All right, let's get into the show. Hey, we got an exciting announcement, man. We've been working on a lot of stuff here at BoozeHound. And one of those things is, and we kind of teased this last week, is the Sweden Rock little short documentary that we put together. Mike was there and did some interviews and filmed some stuff, and Dan put it all together for us.
Oh, yeah.
And it's really cool. And you can get that right now. You can watch that. It's on the YouTube channel. We'll put a link in the description. You can also go to BoozeHoundTV.com and check it out there. And it's really cool. It's slick.
Yeah, it's slick. And even Sweden Rock Festival themselves said that's pretty cool. So, well,
yes, it's endorsed by Sweden Rock. There you go.
Oh, I guess so. I mean, if they say it's good, then it is.
Right?
Then why not?
Of course.
That's a cool thing. I had a great time meeting a lot of people and got to witness a lot of cool shows and it was a blast and you can check it out. I mean, I had such a good time. So the Sweden Rock documentary.
Favorite performance at Sweden Rock.
Favorite performance from Sweden Rock Festival 2022, I'll have to say it's a tie between Saxon, because they went off. I'm a sucker for bands that all of a sudden do stuff that's out of their set list. And all of a sudden, Biff Byford decided to, when the people chanted Crusader, and he looked at the set list and he said, it's not even in her. So, but who cares? And he tore the set list apart, and then they played Crusader. So that was awesome. An epic moment for me as a Saxon fan. Awesome. Their performance is always stellar. It's a great show. But I have to say that the Helicopters did such an amazing show at this year's Sweden Rock Festival. They were in the zone, right on the money, and it was tight, it was rowdy, it was such a great show. So I'll have to say the Helicopters and Saxon, there is a tie.
There you go.
It was really great. So
awesome. And I think both of those are actually in the documentary.
They are.
So you can go see.
Oh yes,
for yourself. How kick-ass.
How cool it was.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So BoozeHound TV.
So go check it out.
YouTube. Mm-hmm. You can go to weareboozehound.com/YouTube and go check it out there. It'll be available. Well, it's available right now. So go after you listen to this, go watch it.
Yes.
You'll have fun.
Cool. Oh yeah.
And now I'm gonna turn it over to you, Mike, because you got a surprise because you hit me up this morning.
Yes.
And you're like, hey, I need a top 5 list from you. And I'm like, dude, really? Right now? I got to do this now? You're making me go back like 40 years? Really?
Yes.
Okay. And he won't tell me what he's got planned with this list. But
no.
So what are we doing here, man? What's going on?
It's like this. On my Instagram account at Sounds on Vinyl, I tend to go with, I try to keep everything fresh, and all of a sudden I thought to myself, well, I've been doing this for some 3 or 4 years, I think, on the Instagram, 4 years, and you're bound to post like the same album a couple of times because you listen to them a lot. And then I thought to myself, why not mix everything up and do post my weekend playlist? So I got together with all the stuff that I usually listen to, and I started posting multiple albums, like top 5 for the weekend that I listen to. And all of a sudden I got like from 2 or 3 different places, on one on DM and on one in the comment, and I can't remember that one. What's your ultimate top 5 list? And that always gets me going, because I can name a top 5 list like this, but if you ask me in like 30 seconds, that would all be changed. Mm-hmm. So I had to wreck my brain, and it's the top 5, my ultimate top 5 we're doing here today. So that's why I wanted you to do your top 5 list of songs, because I've done the same. I did a top 5 of the albums, and then I did a top 5 of the songs on those albums. So, and I thought that we can compare notes to see if we're in the same ballpark when we're talking about music that we grew up on. Because my top 5 list this time is from the top 5 albums that meant the most to me when I was growing up, and some of them still today means like the world to me. I listen to at least 3 or 4 of them on a regular basis, but all of them at least 4 or 5 times a year, easily. Some of them even more. So are you ready? I'm going backwards.
You said from 1983
yes,
to 1985. Well, you said between the ages of 13 and 15, which is for me 83 to 85.
Yes.
Okay.
So and for me that's 1983 till 1986.
Okay.
That's when I was 13 to 15 years old. So, are you ready?
I am ready. Now, mine are not in any kind of order, so because I'm old and I can't, think back that far and figure that out.
Okay.
But
it's
I've got
hard.
a couple honorable mentions as well. So
yeah, it's really hard for me to put them in any particular order, but I had to force myself since we're doing this show, and I got asked, could you name them from 1 to 5, and I had to really do that. So this is it.
Okay.
Right now on the Sons on Vinyl, Mike's top 5 list of the stuff that he listened to growing up, which means the world to him, me.
Okay.
So I have to have a sip.
And I didn't even think to bring the records.
No. So number 5.
Anyway. All right.
Number 5.
Number 5
is this one.
Oh God, I forgot about that one. That was I listened to the shit out of that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
The Def Leppard Pyromania.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, and the first time I heard Def Leppard was on that German TV show that I always brag about, that I recorded on VHS cassette when I was like a kid, when I discovered all the Judas Priest, Scorpions, and all that good stuff. So I never heard of Def Leppard, and all of a sudden it hits me like a ton of bricks. What the hell is this? And I had to know everything about them, and I had to go out and buy, especially this album, which was like the new one at the time. And of course, I backtracked. I'm sorry to say, we talked about this before, but this is like the last album. I got the I can't even remember what it's called. The album that came after this one.
Hysteria,
yeah. There we go. That's the last album by Def Leppard that I own. We talked about this. For me, it's a bit different when we talk about bands. I'm very, very happy that Def Leppard is still around, with all the crap that this band had to go through. The guitar player Steve Clark dying, and Rick Allen losing his arm in a car accident, and they all waited for him to do Hysteria. But with that being said, the music is not for me anymore. This is the real deal here. Def Leppard Pyromania. Released in 1983, of course. And you got songs like Photograph, Too Late for Love, Coming Under Fire, Fooling, Die Hard Hunter. I mean,
not a bad song on the record.
Oh my God. Yeah, I mean, it's such a good album, and I just love this lineup with Steve Clark and Phil Collin and Rick Allen and Joe Elliott and Rick Savage. So this one means like the world to me. I'll listen to this on a regular basis. So, but I'm thinking right now, should I mention my song for this one too? Yes. It would be easier to do that. Yeah.
Yes.
So my favorite song on this album is a song called Billa's Got a Gun.
Mm-hmm.
And he's on the run.
Mm-hmm.
Confusion is. Yeah, you see.
Yeah. Great song.
I wish I could.
That's one of my favorites too.
It is. Yeah. It is. And it's such an epic album. Such an epic.
It is.
Okay. And now it gets really hard. Really, really hard. But it's I don't know. There was a tie between. I changed the list over and over again between number 3 and number 4, but I had to go with. Oh, I'm guessing you already know. No, fuck it. Took the wrong one. It's Deuce. Holy Diver.
Dio.
On number 4. Deuce Holy Diver. And this was like also from 1983. There was a lot of things going on in 1983 for me. I mean, I discovered metal. I'm like 12 years old, so I'm a bit younger than I wrote to you. But it's okay. You can forgive me. Between the ages of 12 and 15, but I mean, the first time I heard Ronnie James Dio sing with the song "Holy Diver," I really couldn't grasp that you could sing like that. It was it was sort of like, holy fuck, what the hell? And then when I got out and bought this album and listened to it from my back to back. I mean, it starts with "Stand Up and Shout" with all those guitars that in the intro, and you can hear Ronnie's voice. And I remember, and still to this day, I become like 12, 14 years, 13 years old when I listen to this album. It's there is so much memory. I mean, there is so much stuff going on. I never saw any videos or clips. I only had, because back in the day when I was growing up in Sweden, we didn't have access to MTV. We didn't have any like cable. So we only had like 3 channels that we had to watch. 2 Swedish channels and a Danish one. And they never ever showed any music at all. At least not metal music. So I had to go and look at all the pictures. I had to imagine them playing a show. And then I remember, I think it was like 1985 or 1986, right before Christmas, they decided to air a 30-minute special with Dio. And I thought to myself, what the fuck? A friend of mine told me, is this for real? I mean, Swedish television, really? Metal music on primetime television? And lo and behold, it was like 30 minutes. 30 minutes of Dio. And it was seeing that. I mean, I remember it's very harsh to say, but when I saw him going out on stage, man, that's a small dude. He's very short, and you can see all the guys playing with him. But all of a sudden, you heard him sing. I mean, for the first time, I mean, moving pictures, for crying out loud. It sounds like I'm from the 1800s, but it's crazy to when you get to see a band perform for the first time, even though it's on television, it hits you like a ton of bricks, and with all the lasers and whatnot, and it's such a fantastic show. And I remember recording that one on VHS cassette tape and looking at it over and over again. So the Dio's Holy Diver, it's true to my heart still to this day. Ronnie James Dio, one of the best metal singers of all time, I would say. I'm throwing it out there, saying it's one of the best, if not the best. And I'm not putting down Rob Halford or anyone else, but it's
fucking hell be the best.
Yes. And could we kind of, I mean, could we like right now say that Rainbow, Black Sabbath, Dio, Elf, I mean, fucking hell, that this dude has been around, man.
You know, and the thing about Dio, which I think it's safe to say that he is probably the best metal singer that we've had in our lifetime so far, is because he had, what, a 50, 60 year career singing. And even in his last days, the dude, his voice did not, he still had his voice. Nothing about his voice degraded. The voice was the same before he died as it was when he first started. Yeah. And you can't say the same for pretty much any other singer, which I think makes Dio extraordinary in that sense. And again, I'm not knocking Rob Halford or Bruce Dickinson. I mean, Bruce Dickinson had throat cancer and can still fucking sing better than a lot of singers out there. So, but their voice, as you get older, I mean, it's nature, right? It just, your voice goes. That's just how it is. And you as a singer, you know that you have to protect your voice and stuff like that, right? And for this guy to go that long, he takes the win, man. He's number one.
Yeah, and it's funny that you say, because we talked about this. A friend of mine just a couple of weeks ago. I mean, his voice never degraded. As long as he lived, it never degraded, and it was like, I don't know, that there is some myths and legends to it that he had he was short of some ribs in his and for with science, I don't know if it's true, but he could like inhale and keep air for longer parts of time than a usual singer that sings in a metal band. So he had a breathing technique that was like huge compared to other singers. And I don't know if that's true, but I never saw. I watched him both with Black Sabbath, with Heaven and Hell, and I watched him at least a handful of times, maybe more with his solo band Dio, and I never saw a bad show. Never.
No, the dude always
did his
ass.
Voice after like 2 hours of singing and belting it out. It never degraded. As long as he lived, it never degraded. It's insane, I'll tell you. I should be so lucky if I'm half the guy that he was, but I'm not. I'm only like 15%, something like that. There you go. Dio, Holy Diver, and of course, the song that gets me every time when I listen to this album, and it's my all-time favorite song with Dio. It is, of course, Holy Diver.
Holy Diver.
Fucking the intro with the wind and all that, and oh man. Jeez, I know this one I listen to at least 5 times a year, maybe more, but this is the real deal right there. So Dio's Holy Diver on number 4 on my list.
There you go.
Okay. And it was like very, very hard for me to pick on this next album if it's supposed to be number 3 or number 4. I couldn't really decide, but then I had to go by heart and say that this next album is, I mean, it's, well, you know, I just gonna show it. So number 3 on my list, top 5 all-time favorite list. Albums, I supposed to say. Fucking hell.
There we go. Iron Maiden.
Peace of Mind, Iron Maiden, right there. Also from the German TV show that I saw when I was a kid. I remember to this day, and I still watch that show, and call me insane, but that's like the best performance I've ever seen a band do on a live TV show like that. They ripped it up, and they left everybody dumbfounded, and till this day, it's sort of like, I mean, I don't know. But bear in mind that I'm 12 years old and I'm discovering this for the first time. I might be 13. I can't remember, but I think I was like 12 when I saw that show. And I mean, Peace of Mind, Iron Maiden, I mean,
Great
is
record.
there a bad song on this one? I mean, it is. And there is even a bad song on the Dio. I mean,
yeah,
fucking hell.
Yeah, the Maiden record was the one that got me into Maiden.
Oh yeah,
that record right there. That's kind of where I started with Maiden, and just just a great record.
That was the
great
first.
Record.
Yeah, I think this was like the first Maiden album that I bought with my own money. So, and that's why. And of course, it has my all-time favorite song on this one. So on number 3, it has to be The Trooper.
Wow, Trooper.
Still to this day, it gets to me.
I have some Trooper cans back here.
Oh, there you go. Oh, yeah.
Trooper beer.
Yeah.
There you go.
And a funny story, because when they played in Gothenburg, we talked about this. I went to see the show in Gothenburg this summer. They have they tend to hook up with different breweries around the world to release the Trooper beer.
Mm-hmm.
And you would imagine that when you're a big band, you say, well, you can do whatever you want. Just put our name on it and we don't care. Like, oh, no. They're English, and it needs to be in a certain way. All right. So Bruce Dickinson, he jumped on a plane, right? And he went to Sweden to this little brewery and said, hello, my name is Bruce Dickinson. I'm from Iron Maiden. I intend to check out your brewery here, see that you do stuff properly. And they did.
Mm-hmm.
So, and the brewery, they showed pictures from the brewery, and you can see they filmed and the staff going like this. Bruce Dickinson, what the fuck? So, and he said, hello, I'm Bruce Dickinson. How you doing? So they tend to secure every beer and every brewery that they released a Trooper beer on. I think that's fucking insane, but so cool.
Yeah.
So you can't release a Trooper beer from Iron Maiden if you're not a brewing company that gets a visit from one of the band members in Maiden, and they get to say, well, this is okay. We'll give you a green light, and you go ahead and brew our Trooper ale or beer and whatnot. So
I gotta say though,
insane.
your Bruce Dickinson impression sounds more like Steve Harris. But there you go. There we go.
Little. I mean, at least it was in the same band.
Same band. There you go.
You could say you sounded like young Cleese from Monty Python. Well, I would mean. No, not that much.
No,
no,
I don't think so. All right, number 2. What you got for number 2?
Nope. Oh, number 2. All right. Oh, yeah.
Number 2.
I got a good one. I've got a good one. Could you guess number 2? No. Is it hard?
Yeah, there's too much. There's too much during this time period to guess. I would guess that number 1 has got to be Kiss, but I couldn't guess number 2. There you go.
Mm-hmm. There you go.
Metallica, Master of Puppets.
Oh yeah. The first time I get to see them live was on this tour. To see Cliff Burton, and still today, with vivid memories since I was like 15 years old, standing in the audience going like this. I think I'm gonna die. I'm fucking Metallica. But still to this day, this is one of the albums that in my collection, I play at least twice a month, easily.
Mm-hmm.
And I shit you not, with all the albums that I got with me today, this is the one that changed everything for me. I my first album was Ride Lightning, and I thought that was really, really cool. But the instrumental parts on this one took it to the next level. When I thought that this can't be any better. I mean, Fight Fire with Fire, Ride Lightning, From Whom the Bell Tolls, Trapped Under Ice, and I mean, Ride. There's not a bad song on Ride either. So, but this one, it was like starting all over again. I remember sitting at my friend's house, listening to Ride Lightning for the first time. I've told this story like a million times, but once Fight Fire started with the heavy guitars and from that classical intro with the acoustic guitar, and I thought, well, how are you gonna top that? I mean, for a band, fucking hell, it's like Ride Lightning. It's Metallica Sgt. Pepper. I mean, and this one comes out, and you're thinking, holy shit, they took it to the next level. What the fuck? I mean, from the start of Battery into Monster Puppets, The Thing That Should Not Be, Welcome Home Sanitarian, Disposable Heroes, Leper Messiah, Orion, and Damage Incorporated. Fuck me, that's a good album right there.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not putting down but it took me into the heavy music scene from here.
Right.
I discovered Slayer, Anthrax, and whatnot. Megadeth. No, I didn't. Because he used to be in Metallica, but not anymore. Metallica, my name is Dave Mustaine. But still, fucking hell. Am I right or am I right?
Fucking great album. Fucking great.
It is.
It's.
You see those kids right there, 23, 24 years old, making an album like this.
I would argue that's their last great album.
Oh yeah.
Justice was good, but it wasn't great.
Yes.
This was their last great album.
Oh, okay. I'll give you that.
Great.
Okay. Yes. It's because I love you so much. You get to say everything.
It's because you know I'm
want,
right.
You
I'm
fucker.
Right.
But it's insane. The second time they're in Copenhagen with Flemming Rasmussen from Copenhagen, they record something like this. I mean, they're fucking kids, man.
Yeah.
Look at them. I mean, I think Lars still has his pimples going on right there. It's fucking insane to be able to record an album like that.
All right, favorite song. What's your favorite song on that?
Oh, a favorite song. I'm so traditional. I'm so predictable. I have to go with Monster Puppets. I mean, that intro, it gets me every time. That fucking intro, there's something about it. I mean, I love Disposable Heroes. I love instrumental stuff, Orion and Damage Incorporated. But every time I hear bam, 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 I go, yeah, fuck yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like a kid. I'm 15 years old. I'm standing there in the crowd with like 3,000 other. I mean, it was a small venue, and it gets me every time. I don't know. There is maybe there's something wrong with me, but it's sort of like as soon as when I hear it live, I can even from the 4 count on Lars's hi-hat when he goes bam. I mean, it's fucking game over for me.
Yeah.
It's sort of like fuck yeah, and I sing through that fucking song. And it's
great.
I mean, I don't know.
It's great. All right, number
so
one.
There we go.
Number one.
Well, of course you guessed it.
I already know what it is, and the audience knows what it is. So just show it and be done with it already.
No, you have to take it easy. It's such a valuable record. Of course, it's Kiss Alive.
Kiss
Of course it is.
It's Kiss Alive.
Kiss Alive.
Yes.
Kiss Alive. Copy number.
Yeah, copy number. This
16
has got to be the
or something
record that has got the most mentions on this show. We've talked about Dio a lot. We talk about Kiss a lot.
Yeah.
But this particular record, I feel, has got the most mentions ever.
Yeah. But do you know what? Well, I'm not sure because I got a shock from you like the other week when you told us that we're approaching like 100 episodes.
Mm-hmm.
So I might be wrong, but I don't think that we did a Kiss special. We did a Dio special. We did a AC/DC special, but we never. Oh, I mean, we talked about Destroyer. We talked about some other stuff.
We've done some records, but we haven't.
We've done some records. Done a Kiss special. So I have to mention it. You see, that's why. Because you deny me a Kiss special, so that's why
I have never denied you a Kiss special. I have never ever done that.
You see,
actually, I think this was the first in season 1. I forget what episode it was, but I think this was the first Kiss record we ever talked about.
Oh yeah, I think so too. I think so too.
So go listen to that episode. Go listen to that episode.
Yes.
And find out why this record is so important and magical to Mike.
Oh, yeah.
But Mike, you got to tell us what your favorite song is on here. And I think we already all know it, but
I still have to go there. So, of course, it's the opening track, Deuce. That's my all-time favorite.
Deuce.
I mean, it's... Fucking hell.
There you go.
And you need to go look at this. When you find this, when it says 2, I have to read. Specially priced 2 record set, including HP color booklet. And if you got this hyper sticker on there, you most certainly have an RL copy of this album. And for people that used up to this point, used to listen to the show and never get bored of me talking about this. This is the Robert Ludwig mastering of this album. We talked about Bob Ludwig is his real name. No, it's Robert, of course. But Bob Ludwig, RL, and his initials is in the Matrix, which is on the run-out groove on the vinyl itself. And it sounds fucking amazing. Robert Ludwig was the one that mastered Led Zeppelin 2. We talked about this on the kiddie player and the needle jumping up and down the place, and they had to remaster it. Yes. So this is the one.
That's the one.
Go out and get it.
Number 1.
Look for it. It's
there you go.
Cobo Hall right there, Detroit, Michigan. Fucking hell. Kiss Alive.
Kiss Alive.
So that's it.
There you go.
So from 1 to 5, we got Kiss Alive and the song Deuce. Number 2, we got Metallica with the album Master of Puppets and song Master of Puppets. And number 3, we got Iron Maiden, Peace of Mind with the song The Trooper. And number 4, we got Dio's Holy Diver. Of course, the song Holy Diver. And number 5 today is Def Leppard's Pyromania with the song Billy's Got a Gun.
Billy's Got a Gun.
So this is it.
There you go.
That's my top 5.
Top 5.
All-time favorite top 5.
All-time favorite top 5.
I think I'm able to stick with this one for a period of time right now.
Okay.
Kiss, Metallica, and Maiden are always going to be in there.
Yeah.
When I do I write down when people say, "So what's your top 5?" I always mention Kiss Alive, Metallica's Master of Puppets, and Dio's Holy Diver. And well, who am I kidding? This is my all-time. It's my ultimate top 5 list. Everybody.
There you go.
So there we go. Now, to the fun part. What's your top 5 songs?
Well,
from like the same era?
So, like I said in the beginning, I had about 5 seconds to put this list together. Mike puts me on the spot at the last minute to put this together. And so I'm thinking about, okay, what did I listen to back in 83, 84, 85? What was I listening to back then? And it was an interesting mix. So for a little backstory, I lived in this really small town of about, I think at that point it was like 300 or 400 people that lived in this little town. It was about 30, 40 minutes outside of Chicago. Obviously a lot of big bands come through Chicago, but I was not ever able to get there to see them. And you would think radio in Chicago was good, but it wasn't bad, but there wasn't a lot of metal radio. It was a lot of hard rock. It was Van Halen, and it was Twisted Sister, and it was stuff like that kind of came out that I got exposed to. And that was really the only way that I could get exposed to music. Some friends that I've mentioned, they discovered some harder stuff like Metallica and all that. So this list might shock some people, but it was the stuff that I was listening to during those years. And I don't have mine in any kind of particular order, and I did not bring props like Mike did, so I have nothing to show you. I've got booze bottles behind me. Just focus on that, I guess. So the first would be Van Halen and the Cradle Will Rock. I remember being really into Van Halen, and the Cradle Will Rock was just one of my all-time favorite songs during, I guess that would be 85, I think it was 1984 into 85. It was just, Van Halen was just, I don't know, just one of those bands for me that really just did it for me. Grew up listening to all the Van Halen 1, 2, all those, Women and Children First, and
great
Fair
albums,
Warning.
great albums.
It was just, all those albums were just so phenomenal. And the Cradle Will Rock was just one of those songs that, I don't know, I just love that riff in it. It was just awesome.
That's a cool song right there.
Yeah. Next on the list, little band you might have heard of. It's a band called Motley Crue. Ooh. And I remember when those fuckers came out, and I was just sort of like, their imagery, with the skull and the chains and the fire and all that. Even with the makeup, and they were a little glammy at that point. I don't know. I was able to see through that. But Shout at the Devil, that record, I remember getting that record, and it was just fucking like, I love that. The beginning, like in the beginning, the song is like, okay, what the hell are we in for here? Like, this is so unlike what I've already heard on the radio. And then you just get into it, and it's like, oh, and then Shout is just sort of an anthem song. And when you're like a teenager, you just want to go fuck shit up. And that song was just like, made me want to go fuck shit up.
Yeah. And it's funny when you mention Shout at the Devil, because I actually literally held it in my hand trying to put together my top 5 list, because I remember, that gatefold with the pictures, fucking hell.
Yeah.
Being a kid, and it's sort of like opening up Alive 2 with Kiss, with all the fires and bombs and shit going on, and seeing them. But I had to go with like, I don't know, because I played that album to death. Fucking hell. I listened to Shout at the Devil, but it's sort of, I had to go with my heart, and my top 5 list is by heart the stuff that was most important to me. But I had to put it into the shelf again. But it's, I get you. Shout at the Devil.
Yeah.
All right.
Shout at the Devil. And I'm just mentioning
Shout at the Devil.
The song was Shout at the Devil, the title track off that record, by the way.
Yeah.
Twisted Sister is next on the list. Again, this was a band that was just so over the top. And again, we're not going to take it. I Want to Rock, the videos. See, again, we did have MTV. So once we got MTV, that was one more exposure that I got to that. And then right about the time MTV came around, there was this show called Friday Night Videos. And they had a lot of the heavier rock stuff on there, hard rock, a little bit of metal and stuff. And that was so that was good exposure. But seeing Twisted Sister on MTV and those videos were just so like crazy and over the top. And talk about Anthem. I mean, come on. Dee Snider's fighting with our politicians here in the U.S. because they keep using "We're Not Going to Take It," and he's like, "You guys don't even know what the fuck that song's about. You guys are just idiots." But even to this day, these songs just stick out. But I think "Stay Hungry" was just a phenomenal record, and I think it's somewhat underrated by a lot of people because these guys wore the makeup and the hair and all that. I think the band wasn't taken seriously, but that I think was a great record. The only song I think sucks on it is "The Price," but that's just my opinion. My favorite one though, "The Beast," on that record.
Ooh.
I love that song.
Oh, that's a good one.
So,
I agree.
And so this is where it gets a little tough for me because at this point I was still listening to stuff like Genesis and some of the more just rock stuff, not necessarily hard rock. So I was still listening to that. I'll take a break and mention some honorable mentions. So obviously we've got Deep Purple. Everybody knows Deep Purple. And it was about 1980, I think it was late 84, 85, maybe, when they came back. They made their big comeback with Perfect Strangers.
Mm-hmm.
And so I remember I was the first of my friends to hear the new song. And, I remember being at my high school freshman orientation, and we're all hanging out, and talking and stuff, and we're talking about Deep Purple, and "Knockin' on Your Back Door" off that record was like one of my favorites. That's such the way it starts, and it reminds me a lot of some of that old Genesis, right? It's got a lot of that kind of same vibe, and people are going to be like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" But I think it does. It's got that, it's
let them talk, man.
It's I don't know. It's Deep Purple wasn't at that point. They were a little bit different. They weren't what they were back in the 70s, but still good stuff. Another honorable mention would be Ratt. They came out. I'm like, okay, this is some interesting stuff. Obviously, you heard "Round and Round" and all that stuff first, but then I discovered their EP. And then there was a song on the EP that was also on Out of the Cellar, their debut album, and that was "Back for More." And I liked it on Out of the Cellar, but the EP version is just so raw. Like all the songs on that EP were very raw and very just like, I don't know. It just kind of struck something within me. And that EP version of "Back for More," I felt like that's a song that just kind of like, again, makes me want to go out and cause some trouble and kick some ass and not bother taking names. Just like, hey, fuck you kind of stuff. So
in a top 10 list for me, Ratt and Motley Crue are definitely in there. I mean, I just love Out of Cellar, and I love Invasion of Your Privacy. And a little anecdote for you. I almost shit my pants when I got an email from BoozeHound, who was the producer of those first records. I don't think he produced the EP, but all the ones
Out of the Cellar
that came after, and he wanted to work with Grand Reserva, and he actually did. He mixed and mastered the song called Hellhound. So that's BoozeHound. And me and Stefan from Grand Reserva, we're huge Ratt fans, and we're going like this, yay, fucking hell. So just a little anecdote for you right there. So, okay, sorry, go ahead.
All right. So let's see, where am I now? Okay, so there was, like I said, it was a big mix in how I could discover music. So obviously there was one song in the 80s that everybody knows, whether you're a fan of this band or not. And it's a little song called You've Got Another Thing Coming. And the minute I heard that song, the minute I heard that beginning, I'm like, okay, I love this band. And listening to that song did not disappoint. And I remember getting that record for Christmas, and I played the fucking shit out of that record. It was just, I love that record. It was just so amazing, so awesome. It got me into that band. I got Defenders of the Faith that came after it. And, you know, ever since that fateful day, the first time that I heard You've Got Another Thing Coming, I was a fan. Now, my mom and my family, they were not fans because of the name Judas Priest. They were, I don't want to say they were religious or over-religious, but, you know, they thought, oh my God, it's devil music. You know, the big scare is always, oh my God, heavy metal and Satan.
Yeah.
And with Judas and Priest, it's like, oh my God, it's devil music. And I had a cousin who was, I don't know if she was a minister at the time or studying to be a minister. And she was like, oh, that's just horrible. Like, why do you like this music? And it was like, okay, come on. It's just good. Listen to it. Listen to it.
Yeah.
It's good.
Yeah. And people like her talking to a metalhead. Yeah, right. You're supposed to listen less to the music when they say that, oh, it's the devil's music. Everybody went out to the record shops and got all those albums. So which one are on the list for the crazy Christians, radicals today?
Yeah.
Oh, it's Judas Priest, it's Wasp, and you can go on the Twisted Sister and so forth. Everybody went out, and the record sales for those bands, they just increased. It was so funny.
Yeah.
Fuck.
And just to continue on the whole satanic thing, my favorite song is not You've Got Another Thing Coming. It is a phenomenal song, but it's actually Devil's Child.
Ooh.
So
because you're a devil.
I'm a Satanist through and through. God damn it.
Satanist through and through.
So anyway, yeah. So Judas Priest, Devil's Child. I mean, it just... There's not a horrible song on that record. Every song on that record is just amazing. You just turn that up. Yeah. And just what can we, I mean, we've done a show on it. Go back and listen. It's a great show.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just phenomenal.
It is. It is.
Okay. So before I get to my last one, I will throw in another honorable mention. And that's a band called Warrior.
Ooh.
Now, I feel like not a lot of people are aware of this band. Yep. This is kind of a band that kind of came through and left. But there was a song that I heard on the radio called Fighting for the Earth. And I fucking love that song. And it wasn't until recently that I actually heard anything else by them. And I can't say I'm necessarily a fan of the band itself, but that song I played the shit out of. Like, whenever it would come on the radio, I would just fucking crank that. I would record it onto a cassette tape and just fucking play that all the time. You know, because we all had our mixtapes. Yeah. We all had radios that we always had a tape in there. We're all ready to freaking hit record. We're just waiting. We're waiting. The DJ's like, okay, coming up next, it's going to be Warrior. And I'm like, okay, great. And then it's not. It's like fucking Journey or some shit. And I'm like, what the hell? You just said Warrior. Like, come on. So Warrior, Fighting for the Earth. And if you know that song and you're listening or watching, let us know what you think of that, because I feel like not many people know about that, and maybe I'm wrong, but I feel...
No, I've only heard the name before, because I was watching one of those, like when they did all the genres and all the with heavy metal music and stuff that came out in the 80s and so forth. And the guy on there actually listened to Warrior, so and this was just like a couple of years ago that I first heard of them, and I was intrigued, and then I listened to it, and I wasn't intrigued anymore. I'm sorry to say, but I'm going to go listen to that particular song.
Yes, it's on the streaming platforms, so you can find it pretty easy. I'm sure there's a video on YouTube of it, and but yeah, that's that. Now for my last one. If you wanted to, you could call this number one, because it is like one of my favorite bands, I guess. So you brought up Peace of Mind earlier. And as I said, that was my introduction to Maiden. And I remember listening to that, kicking back, listening to that in 1983. That was the other record that I got for Christmas, I think, along with Priest. And then I'm like, okay, I got to have more. And then I went to Iron Maiden, the first record. And that one, I'm like, because it is so much different, but as a kid, you don't even realize it's a different singer. It's like, it sounds different, but, okay, and it's a little more punkish, and all that stuff. And I'm like, oh, this is awesome. So it's got to be like the song that I played and played and played and played off of that record, which is not my favorite today, but it was then, was the song Iron Maiden.
Oh.
Today it's Phantom of the Opera.
Oh.
That's my favorite song on that record is Phantom. And probably my all-time favorite Maiden song would be Phantom of the Opera. Yeah. But yeah, so Iron Maiden, I just loved that riff, and of course it's the song where Eddie comes out, when on tour, on stage, and he starts fucking with all the band members and shit. But so there you go. There's my list. There's my big list with a couple honorable mentions thrown in there for good measure. But
that's a good list, right? But,
cool. You mentioned Pyromania, and I completely forgot about that record. I mean, that's easily in that list. There's Dio. I remember picking up the cassette tape, Rainbow in the Dark, and it just, there was just so much good shit back then that it's really, it's almost impossible to come up with a list.
And to be able to grow up in that period of time when all that great music came out, we're so
spoiled. Blessed. We're spoiled, and that's why the music sucks today. Because
we're
it's not
spoiled.
As good as it was back then.
There you go. You heard it here on Sounds on Vinyl. That's why music sucks today.
Music sucks today.
Oh man! Oh man!
There we go.
Well. There you go. And don't forget, people, that today we got the documentary from Sweden Rock Festival out there, so you can go and watch it on YouTube and tell the people where
BoozeHoundTV.com.
Phil,
you could get to it on YouTube.
You see,
we are BoozeHound.com/YouTube. It'll take you right there to the YouTube homepage, and it'll be right there up in front. You can see it. It'll be there's a section that'll be for documentaries and shorts, and it'll be right in there up front. So you will be able to find it and watch it in all its beautiful glory, because it's glorious. What can we say?
It is. So check that out and follow us on YouTube and all the other places on social media. Hook us up on Instagram and whatnot. And
go to Sons on Vinyl. Fuck social media. Go to sonsonvinyl.com. See?
You see?
Actually, sonsonvinyl.com, that's going to be the place coming soon for Sons on Vinyl. We are working very hard behind the scenes to put together some really epic shit. So when we're not on air, when you can't listen to us in between shows, you can go there and find all kinds of cool stuff to listen to watch, to read, to engage, and have some fun. And I can't wait till we launch that, because that's going to be a lot of fun. And with that, it's time to say farewell. Unfortunately, we have to go. Thanks for listening, as always, and tell all your friends about it.
Oh, yeah.
Because we want to expose ourselves, not in a weird way, but to all you guys out there and all your friends, and let them know about the show. And until next time, later.